Hey, how's everyone doing? This is the Melvin Live Show, and today, let me just fix this first. All right. Okay. So today it's Monday, and usually on a Monday, I would like to start a new topic itself. So today, the key emphasis here is as follows. What do you think makes a great, successful founder? Right? Is there a list of traits or some kind of an area of expertise that will be able to help, make the startup founder to be more successful? So one rule of thumb is that as a startup founder, one of the key expectations is that you must have um, technical knowledge, right? So, like for example, recently when I spoke to a early stage startup itself, the founder was actually has got very good, um, you know, technical knowledge of what he's building itself. Now, but are there other kind of traits that are important? This is something that we want to get into here. So, in case you're wondering, this is the channel where we talk about the 1%, 1 million or digital business. We are going to be releasing this 5-part mini series whereby I'm going to share with you, the pathway from trading time for money to having the LIFT freedom, which is location, intellectual, financial, and time freedom. So, how are you going to go from where you are at now, trading time for money, to having the LIFT freedom? So, if you are interested in that, make sure you leave a comment, and in the comment itself, type in LIFT freedom. Okay. So for today's topic itself, what one of the things that I like to kind of share with you here is that I recently read on the internet that Udemy, right? Udemy actually it's worth 300. Is it 300? Let me just check. No, $3.25 billion. So Udemy, the marketplace for online learning course, whereby anyone and everyone can become an instructor, it's worth 3.25 billion. So this is pre-cash valuation, which means that before their most recent valuation, this was how much they are valued at: 3.25 billion. Wow. Right? Just to create a marketplace for online learning course. And of course, in this round itself, they raise something to the tune of $50 million. And this new series of investment is going to help them take their platform to the next level itself. Well, of course, as you probably know, during the COVID lockdown, many of us are forced to kind of turn to the online space to learn. And so, in fact, they were reporting that there was a huge increase in terms of number of individuals, businesses, as well as governments that has turned to Udemy to look for training possibilities, right? To look for training programs, for example. And also they've seen a good 55% increase in course creation by instructors. So the entire platform definitely did benefit from COVID-19 because everyone was being forced to turn in. And of course 3.25 billion, it's a huge amount of money and it's a huge valuation in itself. But if we kind of go back to the year 2010, right? 2010, they actually tried to first raise some money for the startup in 2010. And most of the investors that they spoke to were actually not impressed with the idea itself. In fact, the startup was rejected about 30 times by different investors before they finally got their seed fund. And so that's testimonial to the fact that you rarely get something right, or you rarely are able to achieve what you want to achieve the first time round. And so what we really want to get at is that you got to keep on trying, and you got to keep on trying different ways, different methods, different angle, and that's how you would be able to take it to the next level. And so here's where I want to kind of make that segue into what we want to talk about here today. Because when looking at what Udemy is being valued at now, 3.25 billion, and looking at back in 2010, right? That's a good 10 years ago, where the investors were not even interested in them. And in fact, they were rejected more than 30 times by investors itself. That kind of get us to rethink and to relook at what we're doing and how we are able to bring ourselves to be able to cope with this idea of rejection, right? And so there's certainly a key lesson here to be learned. Now, so in a separate article, I was reading it, and it's it says that because for early stage startups, right? So these are like they probably do not have any data or any figures, to show to the investors. Whatever that they have, it's purely just projections. So I remember the conversation I had with this early startup CEO, and he was saying that all of my data, we do not have data to begin with, right? And whatever projections are all arbitrary. So he was facing a lot of challenges when it comes to raising fund for his early stage startup itself. And this is where I kind of want to segue into this part here, because when it comes to early stage startup, I mean, I had experience with that when I was involved in an early stage.com in 2000, right? Um, Primarily, the main reason why anyone would want to invest in the company, it's because of the founders. So because they whatever data or whatever figures that you put in front of them, it's all just projections, and all based on estimation. And you and I know that these figures would not be able to stand up to scrutiny when it goes to market itself. And so many a times when it comes to the early stage funding, that's why people say that you default to the three F's. So you have your friends, family, and fools that would invest in your early stage startup, right? And the reason why they would invest in your early stage startup, it's because they believe in not just the idea, or perhaps they do not even believe in the idea, but they believe in you. And that would be the most crucial thing ever. So, I mean, for me, I've started up several companies on my own. And I would say that with each company itself, it kind of create or presents a blank slate for me, right? It's not like people are able to look at what I've done in the past. And I also want to reinvent myself. And so I didn't want to stick to one lane and one lane only. So I have been doing consulting, but right now I'm also doing things that are digital media related, right? And so that's is the approach that I want to take. And without any track record to showcase, without any track record to show for, the at the end of the day, there are just a few things that people look up to when they decide whether they want to do business with you, or even if you're looking for funding, that is what they are looking at. And so, with that, let's look at these six traits here that I have written down based on an article I read recently. So, number one trait that I think all founders must have, right? The number one trait that all founders must have is you have to have a big idea, right? You have to have a big idea. And this big idea needs to be converted into a BHAG, or a big, hairy, audacious goal, as described by Jim Collins. So, what exactly is a big, hairy, audacious goal? Now, a big, hairy, audacious goal, or a BHAG, it's something like this. You set it based on understanding of where you are at in terms of positioning. You set a BHAG based on what you understand by your strength itself. And also, you set the BHAG based on what you understand about the competition. And so, when you come in, you want to be able to to look at that BHAG and say that, when we come into the market itself, this is the path that we are going to work towards, right? And one crucial thing here is that when you set a BHAG, it must not be out of bravado, right? I want to be the best. I want to be number one. I want to be the world class. All that stuff. But it has to be based on the level of understanding. And so the best way to look at understanding is understanding within what are your strengths, right? Understanding about the customer, and also understanding about the competition. So once you understand these three things itself, it would then be able to help you, set that great BHAG. So for example, for me, the BHAG for me is that I want to be able to work with 1,000 people, right? 1,000 people, to be able to help them transit from trading time for money to being able to create a one person, 1 million all digital business, right? That it's my BHAG itself. And the way I look at it is I want to continue to be able to encourage and to be able to inspire other people to what I call multiply their talent, because this is the way that they are going to be able to break away from that trading time for money and moving into being able to experience or enjoy LIFT freedom, right? So that it's my BHAG. My BHAG is to help as many people as possible in terms of multiplying the talent, and my goal is to help 1,000 people, right? So that's my BHAG. Now, the second aspiration, or the second trait that the founder must have, is that, when you talk to people about your idea itself, it has to start with this. It has to start with a story, because it's easy to tell people about facts and figures. And the truth of the matter is that facts and figures would not stick in the mind. And also, facts and figures might not exactly, evoke the kind of emotions itself. So, one of the best traits that a successful founder must have is to be able to tell stories and telling inspiring stories. So the inspiring story, one thing to note is that that story has to be real, right? It's not something that you make up. Although we do know that there are some companies who make up their story, their origin story itself, or they kind of change it in such a way that makes it sound a lot more, a lot sexier than it originally is. But the truth of the matter is that when you are telling your story, you want to make sure that it's an authentic, it is real. So for example, for me, I my story, it's something that I think most fathers, most dads would be able to resonate with. You see, when we had our daughter, and she was the second child, right? When we had our daughter, one of the main thing that I wanted to do is that I wanted to invest more time with my family. But understanding that my capacity or my ability to earn is based on the number of hours I spend at work. So the lesser hours I spend at work, the lesser I would earn. That said, now with two additional mouths to feed, I would then need to look at, an increase in the amount of income. However, my income is dropping. So herein lies that dilemma, right? Like, I need to make more money because now I have more dependents. But at the same time, if I'm going to make more money, it means that I will be spending more time away from my family, which contradicts or counter what my belief is. And so this is where it started me to plunge into finding what is a better way to earn my money. And that was when I stumbled upon, and I say stumbled upon because I was searching and I was trying everything that I could lay my hands on, right? And so I stumbled upon this thing whereby I could digitize my expertise and monetize that. I'm able to build it once and sell it again and again and again and again and again. And so that's the key thing here. And that it's my story. So yes, this story would resonate with people who are, between the age of 35 and 55. And this is the time where they perhaps want to invest more time with their family because they might have still have young children. And but at the same time, they also need to make sure that the family is well taken care of. So, there is this dilemma. And so this is where my story, hopefully, it's able to resonate and also to be able to inspire them. Right. So that's number two. Number three is that, when it comes down to presentation, pretty much the same as what we talked about in terms of telling stories. A lot of time, people like to present facts and figures, and that is good. But if all your presentation is just littered with numbers and charts and all that, I think it's going to disconnect from the people that you are presenting it to, whether they are customers or they are investors. And the reasons it being so is that at the end of the day, you need to understand that your customer has got certain fears and hopes and dreams and struggles, right? And just like your investors, they will be looking at what they are looking at some kind of a benefit itself. Although in our case here, we are not looking at investor. I'm just using that as a way to kind of help us think and sharpen our own skill. So when you look at your customers itself and when you make the presentation, are you presenting to them and saying that, look how awesome I am? Or are you turning it the other way around and saying that, you know, this is what you're going through and these are the solution that is able to help you elevate those challenges, for example. So focus on a high touch presentation. Now, the other three traits, I'm going to run through them fairly quickly here because I just want to be mindful of the time here. Trait number four, it's really about being courageous, right? Being courageous. Now, And some people would say that you need to be passionate. Yeah, I mean, I take that as a given because if you're not passionate about what you're doing, then forget it. You know, it will come across, it will be seen, it will be felt, that energy level will be experienced, right? So when it comes to being passionate, I take that as a given. But what I like to say is that, in addition to being passionate, you have to be courageous. And when we talk about courageous, we're not talking about the absence of fear, but we're saying that despite the fear itself, how are we actually taking the steps to move forward itself. So that's something that you need to be able to demonstrate to your customers, as well as to the people that you work with. Number five is you want to be able to showcase your experience, of course. And granted, some of the things that you're doing right now, you may not have all the experience itself to kind of showcase. But the point of the matter here is this: many a times, if you look at many people who are from that particular industry, after a while, they all conform to the same way of thinking. And if you are able to take something from another industry and interlace it with what you are doing right now, it's going to be something refreshing. For example, I introduced the concept of a freemium um, package for consulting, which was unheard of at the point in time when I launched it. Essentially, was giving the prospect, right, a free audit, and in the free audit itself, after that, to give them a step-by-step solution of how to bridge the gap. Because I know that I will do such a great job and I will build such a great rapport with them that at the end of the day, they will come looking back at me and say, can you help me? And so as a result, that it's what we talk about where we say showcase your experience. And lastly, confidence, right? I think confidence is both overrated as well as underrated. Now, overrated because a lot of people say that, well, you need to have confidence before you can do something, right? And it is also underrated because confidence is so important that if you're not confident, people can smell it, people can sense it, people can see it, right? And so, but when we talk about confidence, what exactly are we talking about in terms of confidence? Now, the way to think about confidence is that, you may not have all the knowledge and skills and expertise to to counter every single challenges that are going to come your way. But what you have is that you have the confidence that you're able to learn, you're able to find out, you're able to figure this out. Okay, so that level of confidence is something that you want to be able to demonstrate, right? And like I said, it's not about faking it till you make it, but it's making it till you make it. All right, and that's quoting quoting quote from Chase Jarvis, right? And if I can give you a bonus trait, the bonus trait of a successful founder, it's the following: he or she is a great teacher. And when I say great teacher, what I'm referring to is that it's not, this person is not just being able to teach another person. This person, it's understanding the customer, right? So there is that level of customer centricity. At the same time, it's also being able to understand what is it that they need, what is it that they want, and then to be able to present it to them in such a way that most resonate with them. And that's what I've been experimenting with regards to catalytic courses. And so before I sign off here today, I just like to let you know keep I'm gonna insert the link in the comments below. But if you're interested in how 134 Udemy instructors collectively, how they were able to get 1 million students enrollment. What is their formula? What is their success criteria? Then you want to check out this book, this guide that I've put together. All right. So it's called the 1 million student enrollment formula. And if you're interested, make sure you click on the link in the comments that I'm going to include later on, and check it out, that that guide itself. All right, as always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe if this is something that is of interest to you. And the other thing is that, if you found this video to be helpful, please go ahead and like the video, and I'll be more than appreciative, because by doing so, you help other people discover this content, which has been happening. And I'm super, super appreciative of that. All right. And with that, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.